Well, good evening. Welcome. Hello to everybody out there, all you Manchester City fans, and anybody else who has taken a fancy to Bernard or myself and wants to watch us chat about Manchester City. I've already mentioned his name. I'm joined by Bernard Deneen from this channel. How are you doing, Bernard?
I'm wonderful. I thought I'd put this on because you had it on last night, so I knew you weren't going to wear it tonight.
I was legging it upstairs to get into my studio. Well, attic, really. My studio, my attic. So, and I thought, on the way, there's that blue shirt. Do I grab it and just put it on again? I thought I wore it yesterday. I'll get something else. So this is the first one that I got. Do you know what year this is from, Bernard, or roughly?
Well, I've got my lad's shirt in there somewhere. So let me think. 86, 94.
I don't know. I thought it was like 92.
My lad's only a tiny one, so I'm trying to think. He must have probably been about 7 or 8. I don't know. It might be 91, 92, something like that.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. So I'm going to go back into the sands of time. We're going to go back a long way to get to this. So I reckon, 94, you were right, Bernard. You were right. 92 was the blue one that you were wearing the other day. The stripe, the pinstripe one as well.
Yeah.
You had the brother one at home, the purple pinstripe one away, and a white brother one for the third kit. Can't believe we're doing third kits back in 93. And then this red one came in 94. And funnily enough, it was an away kit. And they kept it for 95 as well. Can't believe that. They changed the home kit, but they kept the away kit.
I can just picture Niall Quinn in that for some reason, I think.
I don't know. And then we had some weird kits around that time. But at least we kept the blue home kit, which was quite nice, sky blue. That was very nice. So anyway, we digress. How are you doing, guys? Look at some people. Yeah, obviously we're talking about Riyad Mahrez tonight because I was going to do a different stream. I was going to do it. I had all planned out to do a different one. Then I heard today that Riyad Mahrez has agreed a deal to go to Saudi Arabia. Don't know. I'm not looked into the money and stuff like that. I just heard that headline or that piece of news. And I'm sure you guys, as the day goes on, you'll be hearing a bit about it on social media, on radio and whatever. But Riyad Mahrez has apparently agreed terms anyway.
So where's that come from then?
I heard it on the radio today. You don't expect me to give you my sources, Bernard?
Fabrizio, not from Fabrizio, no. Is it?
My sources usually is HP or Daddy's, so that's what I've heard. I heard a few weeks ago that he was in talks, and today it seems a bit more concrete. Sam Lee said today as well that City don't want Mahrez to leave. But why would you? There's two ways to look at that. One, if they get 30-40 million quid for him, he's got 2 years left in his contract, whatever. That's all right. 1 year left, or whatever. It's reasonable money. It's pretty good money, actually. We make a good profit. But then you've got to go out and buy somebody who will take that 1 year.
We probably haven't got anyone. I mean, you think about who we've got in the squad at the moment who can actually step in. That's the problem, isn't it? We don't really have much of an option, do we?
What I think they do, if Bernardo stays and Phil is around, they will probably just, at the moment, Bernardo is playing out on the right. You can put Phil out on the right. Now, I know they want Phil in the attacking midfield, but you can have a midfield of Rodri, Kovacic, KDB.
Stones.
Stones as well. And on the left, you've got Grealish. On the right, you've got Foden or Bernardo. If Bernardo goes, you've got Foden. But that leaves us a bit thin on the ground. I agree with you, Bernard. So, for me, I can understand why City want him to stay, because if you heard the Calvin Phillips interview the other day, he agreed it takes you a season to get bedded in at Manchester City. And if we got somebody else to play right wing, then they'd probably need that season as well. Unless you're Erling Haaland. I mean, hey, I don't even think Erling Haaland's bedded in yet. I think this season just gone was his bedding in season. This was his poor season. Next season, he'll be even better. And that's generally the way. Everybody comes along and they struggle a bit the first season, as Erling struggled this season. And the following season, oh no, you laugh, you smirk and snigger, you guys.
I totally agree with you, mate. I was very frustrated with him towards the end of the season. He had purple patches, of course, scored his 6 hat-tricks, was it? I think overall, but I thought
it was 9 or 10 at the end of the season.
I think it was 9 once. Was it 9? I think.
If you had it, can you imagine?
It didn't take a while for him to settle down, but a team as a whole, it took a long time to get to grips. Certainly before the World Cup, we weren't firing at any time whatsoever.
And when we did settle down, we started blasting people, and then at the end of the season, we just did what was needed to get through.
Yeah, that was it. It became a challenge just to get through and win the games. It was a matter of winning it, not how we won it, just winning it.
Yeah. Absolutely. So Ivan Bravo says, I knew it. The guy's a mercenary. The Bill ABC TV was watching in Australia. We've got Martin Whittaker. How you doing, Martin? Get a good price. Would love him to say, but he's won everything. Let's go on yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I don't blame Mahrez. He's never had the love, has he? He's never had the love at us. He's not. We haven't got a proper song for him, have we? I know there is one knocking around, but it never takes off. We don't even have him in our songs. So I don't blame him. I'm fully behind Mahrez. He wants to go, let him go, because we don't give him the love anyway. So quite right for him.
Yeah, I'm going to use because the numbers are being bandied about. I'm going to use a Jordan Henderson example. Okay, now I was reading or hearing that Jordan Henderson at the moment at Liverpool is on about £170,000 a week. Okay, he's on about £700,000 a month. His deal in at Saudi is for £700,000 a week. That just blows everything out of the water. People say he's got enough money already. If you're earning 700 grand a month, you're earning £8.5 million a year. Yeah. But is that people saying that's enough? Okay. They say, what do you need any more? Why do you need any more than what he's earning? He's a multi-millionaire. Why does he need more? Okay, but here's the thing. If it was you or me, Bernard, okay, on what pittance we're earning, we would think, oh yeah, if I was on 8 million a year, I don't need any more. I'd be laughing it off. But if you're on 8 million a year, you want more.
Of course you do. You adapt your lifestyle to whatever you're earning. Simple as that.
Yeah.
There's not many people who literally, you probably get into the Bill Gates region and Elon Musk and all this sort of guys who probably, but footballers, yes, of course, you're wonderfully paid, but they adapt the lifestyle to pay that. And they've got, if they've anything about them, there's charities, there's family to look after and various things, and people are like that. So, yeah, it's not to do with greed. It's like when people say, "Oh, what are you going to do with £30 million if you won the lottery? Why should one?" Well, obviously, any decent person, it won't be one person winning it, would it? It'd go all over the place.
Yeah, and this is the thing. So when you look at, there's lots of ways to look at that Jordan Henderson thing. They're offering 35 million quid a year. Let's say they offer him I don't know what it is, a 2 or 3 year contract. Let's say they offer him a 3-year contract. £105 million tax-free. That's something people don't consider. So Jordan Henderson's on, £8.5 million a year, but actually he has to pay some tax, and the tax he pays on that.
They lose 40% of it, don't they?
No, well, it's not 40. It's the thing is, over a certain amount, you got 40%, but it's not 40%. It actually loses more. He loses about 4 million quid because you've got tax, of about 3.75 million, and you've got a huge amount of national insurance. People forget about the national insurance, which is £171,000. So on this tax calculator I'm looking at, if he earns 8.4 million a year, which is £700,000 a month, he takes home just under £4.5 million. Still, he's still very, very nice, but it's £4.5 million. Okay. If Saudi offer is 35 million a year, so people are saying he's getting 4 times as much. No, he's not. He's not getting. They're not offering 4 times as much because there's no tax, if I remember correctly. So the difference is he's getting 4.5 million as opposed to 35 million. Okay, that's 8 times as much. It's not 4 times as much. It's 8 times as much because of that tax and national insurance. Now that is a game changer. I'm sorry, and whichever way people.
The thing is with these guys, if they go, all right, they might go into punditry, they might go into coaching or whatever, but they're not going to earn them sort of figures. So their lifestyle now with their big houses, they've got to, you know, they've got to think ahead of how I'm going to pay for this for the next 20, 30 years, you know, because obviously they're not going to get that sort of money. So they have to prepare and be very clever as how they do it.
Because if he goes forwards, gets a new contract like Milner, you know, as you get older, you get to a certain age where you have to take less money because you're not as good, basically. And so some players might be on, you know, I don't know what Milner was on at Liverpool, let's say 140, 150, but his next deal was lower. David De Gea, the deal United offered him was much lower than the 350 he was on, or 375 he was on. So this is what happens. And you're right, absolutely spot on. If you're used to a lavish lifestyle, you're used to earning 8.5 million quid a year, 4.5 million take home. Your agent's taking his share as well, so you'd be looking to get 4 million quid. You might be down.
Not going to downsize. Not going to downsize from a mansion to a bloody 2-bedroom terrace, do they?
If for argument's sake, you're used to having if Jordan Henderson's used to having 3 million quid a year in his pocket after expenses and whatever, paying his agent and everything else, tax and whatever, and suddenly his career finishes and he's down to earning 500,000 a year, and he has got to pay tax and all that, it's a huge fall off. Unless you've got lots of investments like, what's his name, Robbie Fowler, got all the properties and stuff. He's a big landlord in Liverpool. Unless you've done something like that, you've got investments which are paying you money. What do you do?
Any footballer with sense would invest in property because that's the only thing that ever keeps going up.
But footballers have invested in stuff that's not taken off, that's failed. You know, they've done that, taken on businesses that have...
Just buy bars of gold and shove them somewhere. That's what I'd do. That's what I'd do. What's the point? You know, why not?
But that's the thing. So Jordan Henderson's been offered 35 million quid a year. Let's say he only does 2 years, 70 million quid. Now, if he's used to having 3 million quid disposable income a year, that's almost 25 years of disposable income he's got in 2 seasons. That, you know, and even if his disposable income in a year was 1 million, you know, I mean, it's hard to spend more than that, isn't it? Unless you're buying fast cars and houses and whatever, and jewelry. But it'll last him his life and his kids' life. 2 years in Saudi Arabia, he's set for life. His kids are set for life, and probably his grandkids set for life. 70 million quid. You know, he can use that to good advantage. Hopefully, put some roots down on good businesses or good investments, and he'll be laughing his head off. You know, and you do 2 years and say, "Oh, you're doing well, Jordan. Can you stay another year?" Of course. Why do you think Stevie G's there? Stevie G is out in Saudi Arabia. He's not there to enhance his position as a manager. You know, he's there for the moolah. He's there for the lolly, as my dad used to say. He's there for
obviously, when the Americans did it in the 70s, you know, the old, the Stewarts and the Rodney Marshes and George Best went over. It was a similar idea. I mean, they obviously weren't on the sort of money the guys are now, even proportionally, you know. So it's just that, and you don't know how long it's going to last. It could all collapse in 2 or 3 years. So make hay while the sun shines, as they say.
Absolutely. I'll go through your comments, and then I'm gonna bring you guys a treat, a very special treat, just for tonight. Glenn's talking about Mbappe being second in Ballon d'Or, expecting Haaland to win it. Haaland should be winning it. We've got Sean says seems like the right time to go, and City still get a decent fee. Ivan says losing Mahrez means we have to keep Silva too short time to replace both. And here's the surprise in the house: we have got Mike Long, the D in the dong. All the way from South Korea. How you doing, Mike?
Yeah, I'm doing okay, guys. It's all over now for me. All the grading is done, and I'm just trying to book my flight.
Oh, brilliant, Mike. Mike is all the way in South Korea. He's coming back for a visit, so we're hoping to catch up either in Northern Ireland, where he's going to go for a visit, and I'm going to work for a while, or in Manchester. Hopefully, I'll find it somewhere that serves the biggest pizza in Manchester, and let Mike watch me eat it. I tell you what, if we find someone with either a huge pizza or a massive fish and chips, they will go there. We'll do a video whilst talking city. Between mouthfuls and fish and chips or pizza or whatever. So you're going to see me in all my gluttony glory. But let's talk about Mahrez. Look, if he leaves, I don't blame him. The money's whatever it's going to be, whatever 15, 20 million quid a year or more, it's going to be fantastic. It's life-changing money. And we're seeing now, it started off with people like Benzema going, end of his career, but still, he won Ballon d'Or the other year, but he's 35, 36. Benzema going. You've got people like, you thought at the end of their careers, latter stages of their careers. You had N'Golo Kante, Koulibaly going, and now you've recently had Neves going from Wolves. The money's just too good to turn down. And now they're looking at getting more and more younger players. And I said, I can see the Spanish leagues and everybody in Europe panicking because of Saudi Arabia. If you're getting Jordan Henderson, right, okay, he's not over the hill, he's not past it, but he's on the wrong side of the hill at 33, but he's Liverpool's captain. You're nabbing him. You're nabbing Riyad Mahrez, who's still only 32, I think 31, 32. You're getting players slightly younger and younger. And how long does it be? There's obviously, we heard rumours of a 60 to 80 million pound bid for Bernardo Silva. So they will get younger and younger players. And at what point do they start smashing up Europe? UEFA must be looking at this worried because their jewel in the crown, besides the Euros, is the annual Champions League. That's their jewel in the crown. And if Saudi Arabia, like they did with their Live Golf project, in the end, the PGA badmouthed them, some of the players badmouthed them and all that. At the end of the day, it came down to Wonga, Moolah, your lolly. It's what it came down to. And the PGA had to back down and say they were, and they've admitted that they were worried that the Live organization would take more and more of their golfers because they were paying them ridiculous amounts of money. And the money talks. And that would just decimate their competitions. And I think there's a worry from UEFA and other, national leagues as well, that their cash cow, I mean, UEFA's cash cow is that Champions League, is going to be tarnished. If Saudi Arabia over the next couple of seasons can tempt people like, who knows, KDB, who knows, Kylian Mbappe. If they say to Kylian Mbappe, look, mate, we'll pay you £1 billion a year. Do you think Mbappe will stay in Europe or go to Saudi Arabia? £1 billion a year. He's already on over 100 million a year, but what if they come up with some silly numbers and they can go out now? And they got Ronaldo, they wanted Messi. They're getting, some old timers, but they will encroach on other players. And I think everybody's going to cry. But once again, the Italian leagues never cried when they were hoovering up all the talent in the 90s. Spanish leagues never cried when they were hoovering up the talent, and the Premier League haven't cried when they've been hoovering up the talent. So I think it's hard luck. It's tough cheese, tough titty, if you will. Let's have a quick look at some points. Mohammed says they'll be in the Champions League within 2 years. Well, that's the way that UEFA might get around it and say, coming to the Champions League because the rights to the Saudi League are going to grow and grow and grow. I heard that Mahrez is taking it. Haaland's on the cover of the next FIFA game. Wow, should be because he's the best. Martin says, if he does go, who do you think would be our replacement? I would keep Bernardo, put him on the wing. Well, Bernardo was playing on the wing at the end of the season. He was our number one winger. I think Palmer's going out on loan. He can't stay as a backup this season. I can't see that. But that is going to be the problem. If Mahrez goes, it's not late in the day. It's not late in the day. There's still almost at least 7 weeks left of or 6-7 weeks of the transfer window. So there's plenty of time to get somebody else, but it's not what you want. You don't want to be having to get somebody in and get them acclimatized. I can't think of anybody easily right now. But remember this, for the last 2 months of the season, Riyad Mahrez wasn't a first-team player. He wasn't first choice. He was on the bench. And Bernardo Silva was first choice player. Now, I think the risk to City is, and maybe it's why City don't want Riyad to leave, is if Bernardo's going, then I won't say we're screwed, but it's a big problem if we lose Riyad and Bernardo. And Laporte, I can accept Laporte going. We're losing too many players. And next season, I won't call it a transitional season, but it'll be a much more difficult season if we lose Laporte, good backup, Gundogan, first-team player, Bernardo, first-team player, Riyad Mahrez, backup. Lose those four, that stuff. And obviously Cancelo, I'm hoping Cancelo goes because I don't want him around, stinking out of the place. So do you worry next season, Bernard, if we're losing all these players and suddenly, out of nowhere, it appears that Riyad Mahrez might be going as well?
We have to worry, don't we? I mean, it's, as I say, there's no... All right, we've got a glut of... tend to have a glut of midfielders, defensive, attacking midfielders, but obviously, as you say, certainly that right wing is a big problem area, and the work like Cancelo, when Cancelo went, at the time, it was sort of, right, we couldn't do anything. We couldn't do anything about it. We had to let him go and say, right, all right, we'll cope with the squad we got, and Pep did. He moved people about, he moved the chess pieces about, and we sorted. But I say, you've got 6 or 7 weeks. The longer it goes on, we'll start to panic. But we're not going to panic. We're not panicking yet. But we need to know where we stand. If Bernardo's going, the club will know what's happening. If Mahrez is now going, the club will know what's it. As long as we know what's going on, it's not dropped on us at the last minute.
I think in the short term, we've got Phil Foden. Versatile, flexible, plays on the left wing, plays on the right wing, can play as an attacking midfielder, can play as a false nine. That's great. We've got Julian Alvarez, which I'm sure we can play him on the right or the left if we need to. You might say it's not ideal, but we can cope. I think that's the thing. But yeah, for me, the risk of losing all these senior players, every one of them, is a senior player. So that's the concern, because it'll take people a long time to acclimatise, as I said, previously said, Calvin Phillips has said. Mike, it's no secret. It's no secret that you're no fan of Riyad Mahrez. I've never understood that. Bernard and me, we've been firmly behind the Algerian prince ever since he joined Manchester City. Hey, you can, say what you like. I've got a shirt with Mahrez on the back 2 years ago. I got a Mahrez shirt. So anybody can say what they like, but I love Riyad Mahrez. The love for Riyad Mahrez from me runs deep. Okay, that's why I've got his name on the back of a shirt. That's why I speak a bit of the old Maghreb language or dialect or whatever of Arabic, where you'd get from the Algerians. Or Mike's gone. Oh. Oh dear, we've got to Mike. Mike's run off before.
It's a big moment and he blew it.
Sorry, Mike. Please forgive me. Oh, Mike's back. Let's have a look. Let's get Mike. We thought you'd legged it because of your agenda against Riyad Mahrez. But Mike, seriously now, I mean, would you be sad to see Riyad Mahrez leave right now this summer?
Yes, I would be. I seriously would be. It's a very curious situation. We've got no more information about Bernardo Silva.
Yeah.
I totally agree with Ray that we've got Foden and Alvarez. We're well covered in those positions. But I think Mahrez has got the whip hand here. He's got a couple of years left on his contract, and I absolutely can tell you that he doesn't want to go. So
Mahrez doesn't want to go.
Mahrez doesn't want to go. No, he doesn't. I've read that from a number of sources. Although this phenomenon in the last 6 weeks of Saudi clubs offering like millions and millions would be tempting. I think he'd be stupid not to consider it. But I don't want him to go. I don't know anyone else that wants him to go. I put up the video. I'm sure all of you guys saw it about Mahrez's first touch. Absolutely incredible. I think he's still got a couple of years to offer. So it's a bit of a conundrum, I think. But I know that he doesn't want to go. So he'll be, if he's sold, it will be against his wishes.
I'm not so sure. The stuff I heard today was, this offer. Well, I heard a few weeks ago there's an offer on the table that he was thinking about. I don't think his wife wants to go because, or his girlfriend. Is she his girlfriend or wife? He split up from his missus, didn't he?
Well, make a change. Make a change for one of the wives not to want to go, isn't it?
But
he's got a young family and he's settled, and he's got a huge contract, and it's likely to be improved.
Here's the thing, okay. Jordan Henderson, okay. I used that example earlier in the show before you were here.
Are we really gonna mention Mahrez and Henderson in the same sentence?
I'm talking about the numbers I have heard and I believe about Jordan Henderson. So I'm giving you the example. Henderson is reportedly on 170 grand a week at Liverpool. Okay, about 700 grand a month. He's been offered £700,000 a week in Saudi. That's £35 million a year. Now, I went through with Bernard earlier. If Henderson's earning £8.5 million a season at Liverpool, he's going to pay tax and national insurance. That gets it down to £4.5 million. So he's getting £4.5 million take home. In Saudi, he'll get £35 million take home with no tax. I think they still got no tax, or very, very little. If he's taking £35 million home a year for 2 seasons, £70 million. And I said that will set him up, his wife, his family, his kids, his grandkids, everybody. That'll set up 200 people around Jordan Henderson. For life. Now, he's not going to get that at Liverpool, and as Bernard said earlier, once his career is finished, he's not going to be getting 8 or 10 million quid a year. He'll lose things like his boot deal. He'll lose his image rights mainly. He'll lose a lot of the sponsorships that he gets, and he'll be out there living off his investments or any businesses he sets up, or doing some punditry. Punditry is not going to pay you 8 million a year. You'll be looking to get $1 million, $500,000. So the money's going to drop off very quickly, and 35 million quid a year is a heck of a lot. Now, for Riyad Mahrez, let's say, I'm just going to put a number out there. Riyad is on 250 grand a week. Okay, he's on about 12.5 million a year. Take home, he's done about 7 million. If the Saudis come along and say, Riyad, we'll pay you 20 million for 3 years, that's 60 million quid. If he stays at City, he'll be getting 20 million in those 3 years, or City or somebody else, and 60 million opposed to 20. It's very hard to say no, because the numbers are just so eye-wateringly large, huge. Some would say obscene. And it's very hard to turn it down. No matter we are sitting here thinking, if I was earning 10 million quid a year, I don't need any more than that. But Mahrez isn't sitting there thinking that. Henderson isn't sitting there thinking that. Why do rich people carry on working hard when you're a billionaire? You want for nothing. Okay? Why do you keep working hard to become a multi-billionaire? What's the benefit?
I've got an answer to that.
There's none. Look, where we are, if you're earning 50 grand a year, if someone offers you 100 grand a year, you can see where you'll spend that money. You'll be cock-a-hoop, okay? You're on 50 million a year, you go up to 100 million. That's not life-changing. It isn't, okay? But if we went from 50 to 100,000 pounds a year in earnings, it's life-changing for us and our immediate family, okay? If you're going from 50 to 100 million pounds or whatever, it's life-changing for multiple generations or extensions of your extended family. So it's greed. We might here, Big Morgan. We might sit here and say it's greed. If someone comes to you and says, "I'll double your salary, come and work somewhere else," and you leg it, are you being greedy, or are you just taking what's rightfully yours, or what's reasonable for you, or are you doing the best for your family, or are you being greedy? Just because the numbers are an added 2 noughts to what what we're earning, it doesn't mean it's simply greed. It's, people say I came from nothing. I don't want to go back there. So, let's look at how Henderson is going to get. Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know what, but they're picking someone like Henderson because of Gerrard, thinking they can get him, thinking he's a big name. Look at some of the people they've got. Benzema, big name, Ballon d'Or winner a season ago or whatever. N'Golo Kante, World Cup winner, big star, couple of lots of Premier League titles and stuff, Champions League or whatever. Some younger ones like Neves. But Henderson is Liverpool's captain. He's still a big draw, even if he's 33. Mahrez is a huge draw in the Arab world. Huge draw. So they're getting a bit of both. They're getting some youngsters now, and they're getting some huge draws in their opinions. That's why Henderson is going to get that sort of money. So does play for 40 million for a washed up. Yeah, that's it. 40 million pounds for Fabinho I saw today. What ridiculousness is that? But if they're willing to pay it, they're willing to pay it. Henderson as a pundit, Glenn, you took the words right out of my mouth, that no one would understand Jordan Henderson. If they can scrap up 40 million for Fabinho, they can certainly do that for Mahrez, absolutely. And clubs will also look at that eventually and say, we can balance our FFP books by this money coming in from Saudi Arabia. Be happy with your lot. It's easy to say, Big Morgan, but no one is. Henderson ain't not for us, but he's a Liverpool captain. We might think he's a rubbish player or whatever. He's still a big name. He's Liverpool captain. Liverpool, as their fans proclaim, are one of the biggest, if not the biggest club in the world, with billions of fans around the world. So he's a big draw. He's a big name, whether we like it or not. Big Morgan says, I hope Pep doesn't have that attitude. I don't think he will. I think Pep's different. Pep wants the trophies. It's not just the money. Money's great, but I think Pep's not at the end of his career. Chelsea will do superbly on FFP out of this. But as I said, I think the authorities will start looking at this because they just won't accept it. Money talks. Money talks. But here's the thing, Ivan. If someone said to you, give you the opportunity to quadruple your money by going to Saudi Arabia, you would seriously consider it. Yeah? If someone said to you, since you're a friend, I won't be rude. I was going to be rude. If there was a Liverpool fan in the house, I'd be rude to them. But, I was going to come up with some very naughty Scouse trope there, but I've withheld myself. Otherwise, I'd have been... I'd have had a pile on social media. Watch your tongue, because those Liverpool fans, they certainly know how to dole it out to people if they say the wrong word, and I don't mean dole in terms of pineapples. Anyway, so money does talk, and we are. Is it disingenuous to think that we, given the opportunity, wouldn't consider it? Look, I've always said I won't go on TalkSport if they ask me. I've always said that. Last month or month before, I was on TalkSport talking to Laura Woods and Ali McCoist. So, I'm a hypocrite or whatever. But it's one of those things. I've always said, look, if TalkSport offered me, something like, say, the Mark Goldbridge show, would I do it? I've always said, no, why would I do that? Because it's a Rupert Murdoch, mouthpiece and all that. But if they offered me 50 grand a year, Rupert!
my mate Rupert.
Who's that? My lad, excuse me, he's on my phone. So that's it. Money does talk, because you look at it, honestly, you look at it and say, especially with the cost of living crisis for us mere mortals, someone offers you 50 grand a year to, some things I can turn down. I said the other day, I turned down that Lad Bible or Sports Bible interview they wanted to do with me, or the chat with Andy Tate. I turned that down. I mean, it wasn't the money reasons. I was actually working in Germany doing something I loved at the time. A period on stage. But if they'd said to me, we'll pay you 10 grand to come on and do this video, come on, how is that easy to turn down, Bernard? Honestly,
I'll smash your hands off, mate.
Yeah. I've got a mate of mine. He said he'll do almost anything for money. You know,
Ray, the thing is that your perspective is entirely flawed, because that means something to you. It means something to you to have that kind of money. But we're talking about millionaires here. Mahrez doesn't need the money. He doesn't need the money. He's secure for life as it is. But he is, like a lot of them are, a glory hunter, and he wants the glory. The money doesn't mean anything to him anymore. It doesn't mean anything to him anymore. And if you double his salary or quadruple it, that would be lovely. But it doesn't mean to him what it might mean for you.
Look, Karim Benzema, 36, playing for Real Madrid, semi-finals of the Champions League this season, won it, was it 3 out of the last 5 seasons or whatever? Okay, he's getting plenty of glory. Ballon d'Or, he's gone for 200 million a year. Okay, he's gone for the money. He knows, Real Madrid aren't really going to challenge Man City, because Man City are the best team in the land and all the world. We've seen that this season. We give them a pasting. So he sees the writing on the wall. So he's opted out. Other players will look at that as well. If you're in the last stages of your career, the payday is very hard to turn down. And you might be more noble than some of us, Mike, but I'll talk to you about that another time, Mike. Big money is hard to turn down. And look, I had a mate of mine who was working out in China a few years ago. He was earning 6-figure sum, tax-free. Tax-free it was. And his first child was born whilst he was over there. He had to work 6 more months there, coming back to see his lad every few weeks. Now, some people said, I couldn't do that. But he told me, if I come back, early, I have to pay tax on everything I earned. When he went there for 2 years, so he didn't have to pay tax, he could take out whatever, 200 grand and pay off his mortgage. Okay. Now, if he had to come back and pay, for argument's sake, 40% tax on 200 grand and pay best part of 80 grand in tax, ouch, basically. And it would hurt him big time. And so he's gone all that way, in effect, for nothing, because he's had to pay the tax on it while not being with his family. So he stuck it out for the next 6 months to save that 80 grand, because that 80 grand was a huge amount of money. Now, he came back, he's earning a lot less here, but the Chinese at the time paid him an incredible salary to go out there, and it worked for him. So these are the things for, I'm sure if a lot of people who say, no, I won't do it, no, I won't do it, no, never, no chance. When someone comes along and says, I'll double your money, come and work somewhere else, they say, where do I sign? And that's just human nature. People want more. Why do you think I'm a slightly overweight these days? Why? Because I see food, I want a bit more. I told you about pizza in Northern Ireland. People think
you're on a seafood diet.
That's Mike, I told you I went to that not chicken wings or little wing pizza place in Northern Ireland, and I had a 24-inch pizza. Why? A 14-inch pizza is enough, more than enough for most people. 12-inch pizza you share with somebody else. I had a blinking 24-inch pizza on me toad in half an hour. Why? Because I'm greedy. It's human nature. Why are so many people obese? It's not simply because we eat the wrong food, we eat at the wrong time. We eat dodgy food with all this super processed food and everything else. Okay, it's because we're greedy as well. Our eyes are bigger than our stomachs. People.
I'm just going to have to be a little bit contrarian, because that's not, you're not used to that, Ray. That's a bonus for you, a privilege for you. But people like Mahrez and these millionaire players, they lost the fear about their financial situation a long time ago. Okay. And they're absolutely secure. And I just think when I saw Mahrez sulking when we won the Champions League because he wasn't in the team, I just looked at his face and I knew that he just wanted the glory. He wanted to be in that team. And I think that, yeah, absolutely, Ray, you're absolutely right. I think to anyone with a pulse, being being offered those huge sums would be incredibly attractive. But he's got 2 more years left in him. I think he wants to win things.
Yep. I'm just going to say there are 34 people watching. I bet you all 36 now consecutively right now. I bet you all 36 aren't subscribers to the channel. So please, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you're notified as soon as new videos come out. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a like. Because yesterday we had a ton of people on. About 76 was the most at one time. And we got about 20 new, I think 17 or something new subscribers yesterday. We're on 1,600 as we speak. So I would love each video when we're doing stuff like this, especially live. If we can get 10 or 20 new subscribers, push on for that 2,000s, up to 39 people at once. Come on, guys, hit that subscribe button. It's costing you now. I'm reading out, I do. I'm not doing this just to get subscribers. I do read out just about all the comments.
Not being greedy, Ray. Come on, stop it. You're being greedy.
You got 3,200 subscribers, man.
Yeah, you'll be catching me up, though. That's why. So stop it. Knock it on the head.
It's only 2 years. Here's the thing. All right, I'm going to tell you a story. Okay. Now, I ran a business I had my own business several years ago. I sold it in 2008. When my lad was born, I sold my business. Just trying to work out how old he is. Actually, 2007, I sold it, and I stayed on for a year to help with the transition. Before I sold it, okay, I've got to be honest, I was earning good money, okay? I had 5 cars. So Big Morgan says you only need 1 car, 1 house. I had 5.
Yeah, a bigger car, a bigger house, yeah.
That's it. People, this is the thing. Look at this rat race people are in. They're in a race to buy a house in a nicer area, they think, or a bigger car or a nicer car. So they're working hard, or sometimes like a dog, to and they'll never be satisfied. It's human nature. And I had a really nice Mercedes, really nice Mercedes. I'll tell you, I had a CLS, okay, very nice. But then I had a Mercedes from 1953.
2008, this?
Yeah.
I was sleeping in this and sunny in 2008.
But I had 2007. I had this Mercedes CLS. I had a 1953 Mercedes, and they called it was a 300. It was so old. It had no designation, not 300 A, B, C, D, or whatever. It's a 300 Adenauer. Go and check it up. The car I had was, if I remember correctly, the Australian ambassador to Singapore's car. Big black, huge things, huge car. Okay, the seats were like bigger than bucket seats. Okay, it had no seatbelts. You were that far from the back of the seat to the windscreen. You didn't need a seatbelt because you were never going to reach it. It was that huge, that car. I had that. Okay, I had a Volkswagen Beetle, which the guy who I bought it from had used it on the drag strip. So it was a drag car. I had a Triumph 2000, 1967, I think, or might have been a bit older, which was a race car. So the guy who I bought it from, he'd been using it on the race circuit, on the touring historic race circuit, okay? And I bought it. Look, I had too much money, okay? I admit that. I was just chucking it away. I bought it because he was racing against cars, and because what he'd done, he'd made it all fiberglass, bored out the engine and everything else. And he got in trouble by the marshals a race in Ireland for overtaking at unusual places. He was pasting past Porsche 911s and stuff like that because his car was so fast. I went for a test drive. It was spitting flames. There was that much going through. It was, flames going. I bought that, and I had a replica of a Porsche Spider RSK 718. Very similar to the 550 that you might have seen James Dean in. That was an incredible car. It was low. It was made by a company that it was based on a Beetle, but it's made by a company that did go-karts, championship go-karts. And so basically you were on the floor, almost on the floor, and it weighed nothing because that was fiberglass or plastic or whatever. It weighed nothing at all. Had no roof. The windscreen was about that. Honestly, that was the windscreen. You're driving.
I've had cars like that with no roofs.
You get bugs in your teeth as you drive, okay? And that had, I think we uprated the engine to about 2 litre. Trust me, you're driving at 30 miles an hour in that it feels like 60. And I won't tell you how fast I went. But I had the money. I went out and bought these things. Okay? Okay, the money. But, and here's what happens. Here's what happened. But I sold that business. The cash cow of my business dried up. I got rid of all those cars. Got none of them left now because I needed the money. So times change, and players, they might think, yeah, we're doing really well. But I did a business, lost a ton of money. It happens. It happens. I lost a quarter of 25% of all my money I lost in this business that failed. Okay. So things change, and players, whilst it's going's good, I always used to say to people, when the going's good, take the money, take the work, because you don't know what's around the next corner. So what I'm trying to say is, these footballers, you want to go out and buy, I mean, yes, they got the money. You want to go out and buy this Lamborghini Aventador for 350 grand. Okay. And that's 2 months' salary for someone who's on 100 grand a week. That's 2 months' salary. Okay. So they are going out and doing it. They are going and spending big money. So they want more, and it's human nature. And look, we'll find out soon enough, Mike. It might be that City say to Riyad, look, we will pay you extra money to stay, because they don't want to lose, like we said earlier, they don't want to lose Bernardo, Gundogan, Mahrez, Laporte, all in one failed super, and Cancelo, guys who know what it's like. Whilst you've got Calvin Phillips, we don't know whether he's going to make it or not. And any new player we get has to take time to bed in. Honestly, if we look at the players who've walked into City and hit the ground running, I will suggest Aymeric Laporte, although he didn't play a lot that first season we bought him, but he did hit the ground running. Erling Haaland. Even though we've joked earlier on that Erling Haaland, that was his bedding in season last season, and this season he's going to hit the ground properly. Who else walked in and was immense? Mahrez wasn't. Grealish wasn't. Phillips hasn't been. Rodri wasn't. Ake wasn't. Akanji's been pretty good. Ake wasn't walking in and being the bee's knees. Ruben Dias was pretty good. But most of our players haven't walked in this Pep system and been amazing like they are now. They've not been top 100%, 100% from day one. They've had to work to get there. And the worry is losing a lot of good players and we're going to have to go out and replenish. I'm worried. I am genuinely worried that if we have to go and replace Mahrez, especially with somebody who's not in the Premier League. Now, I've got some confidence. I take some positiveness with Kovacic, who's won the Champions League, I think, at 3 different clubs. I think Bernard said yesterday, into Real Madrid and Chelsea, and he'll win it at City as well. So he'll be lucky enough to win it with 4 different clubs. You smile, Bernard. You know I'm right. But he's played in the Premier League for a few seasons. He's played at a very high level. I think he'll hit the ground running. I have no worries about him. But other players, you get someone from another league. You get that guy from Napoli, Kvaratskhelia. It's going to take him time. Anyone you bring in, it will take time. And even players we brought from the Premier League, we've got Mahrez and Grealish from the Premier League, and it still took them time to settle in. That's my concern. But I go back to the same thing. The story is that Mahrez has agreed terms with the Saudi club. City don't want him to go. Okay, that's where we're at right now. We're going to find out, obviously, in the next few weeks, the lie of the land. But it's a worrying time, also an exciting time, because hey, look, we're still blooming treble winners, and we've still got a very good team, very good squad, and we will buy some more players. I'm waiting for the Guardiola deal to happen.
I'll tell you something that's quite interesting, guys. I mean, I know that Ray hates the Daily Mail. I know that he does hate it with a passion. But they went through the list of teams, and when they're talking about who they need and who they're going to buy, when it came down to Manchester City, I was quite interested. So I scrolled down, like not interested in the other teams.
Yeah.
And the question was, who do they need? And the answer was no one.
No.
That was quite funny.
No, but the thing is, Mike, I've said this before. Our first team is the bee's knees, okay? And City are very, very lucky. Well, you make your own luck at times. Look at, I discussed this with Bernard a few days ago. The versatility and flexibility of our players is second to none. John Stones can play right back, centre back, DM. In fact, we saw him at times last season. He was box to box in that Champions League final. I think he did. He had the most successful dribbles. Your centre back had the most.
That's right. Yeah.
In the final, so he plays all those different positions. Kyle Walker, okay, he's stuck in the mud. He plays right back, and that's it. Rico Lewis has played right back, left back, DM. Bernardo this season has played attacking midfielder, right winger, left back. Okay, and alongside Rodri. Rodri plays where Rodri plays because he doesn't need flexibility. He's the best in the world. Akanji's played right back. Akanji's played centre back. He can play left back. Laporte's left back, centre back. Ruben Dias, left centre back, right centre back. Okay? Nathan Ake, centre back, left back. Phil Foden, left wing, right wing, attacking midfielder. Gundogan played attacking midfielder. He can play DM. Okay? KDB can play right midfield or attacking midfield or right winger. Seasons gone by, he's been pushed out to the right. Mahrez stuck in the mud, right-hand side. Grealish stuck in the mud, left-hand side. Haaland down the middle, not going to mess with them. And Alvarez can play as an attacking midfielder, I think, as a second striker or out wide. Our players are versatile, so many of them. That gives us so many options. But you've only got so many players. And this season, do we want to go? We're going to have 38 Premier League games. We want to go deep in the Champions League, of course. You got 6 group stages. Let's say you get 10 games easily in the Champions League. I think that's reasonable. That gets you to the quarters. That's 48 games. FA Cup, let's say you get 3 or 4 games. You're up to 52, 53 games. Carabao Cup, let's say you get a couple. Let's say you get knocked out early. That's 55. You've got the Super Cup and the Club World Cup. That should be another at least 3. I think that's 3 games there. So, City could end up like Liverpool the other season, who played 66 games in a season. You need more depth. Yeah, you can argue our first team is brilliant, and it is, but you will need depth because injuries will take their toll. Our players have had an arduous season that finished on the 10th of June. Or in Jack Grealish's case, about a week later because he was boozed up and all that. But actually it wasn't, because they had the international games. So they finished, for some players, middle, like 20th of June or something. They're going to get a month. I mean, when a City back next Monday? And all right, Grealish and others, they won't be coming back at that time. They got another week or 2 off. But you're going to get a month of. People are going to get burnt out. And if we're going to play 66 games, we need that depth in the squad. So I think we've got to get more bodies in, and it's going to be difficult. But we'll have to wait and see. Your car only gets you from A to B, same as all cars. But hey, that some of my cars didn't get me from A to B. Trust me, I broke down in that Triumph a couple of times because it didn't have an alternator. You had to rev it over 3,000 revs to charge the battery. I mean, what's going on there? Because it was a race car. You go racing in it, and it's always above 3,000 revs, so it charges the engine, the battery. Sorry, it died a couple of times. It only gets you A to B, but some of them get you there faster or in a different level of style than others. Man, you're loaded. What do you mean? Who's loaded? Oh, that was back in the day, King Harlan. That was back in the day. That was 16, 17 years ago. And I didn't have hair then either. Not much anyway. No, I got my wedding picture. I have a little bit of hair there. But if you stand back enough, you can't see the bald patch in those pictures. Cars Fan TV, absolutely, mate. Trust me, I loved my cars. Absolutely loved my cars. Went through them like water in those days. I had a Jaguar XKR, which I had to sell because once my first lad was the child was born. I thought that's not an appropriate car. It's certainly not appropriate for putting a child seat in the back and all that. And you found you were driving very fast, very quickly. That supercharged 4-litre. Oh, it's ridiculous. What do I drive now? Right now, I'm driving a Vauxhall Zafira, which is my mechanic's car because my Beamer's broke down. So my mechanic, he said, you can have this car. You can either buy it or you can drive it for free. Just pay the insurance and the road tax, and you can have it for free as long as you need it, which is really good of him. But I'm driving the Vauxhall Zafira. So there you go. So it just says, I don't blame anybody who wants that sort of money, but the part of that side you're willing to pay that kind of money that has been reported for the likes of Fabinho Henderson doesn't make sense. It doesn't. But, you know, the clubs are going to push that. If Saudis can give City 60, 70 millions, no, I don't think they will. I think it'll be nearer to 30 or 40 million. Akanji, as we mentioned, he has succeeded. The Bernard has a deal until from Saudi. You're going to let him go. I hope we don't. But if the play, here's the thing: City have always said if the players are not happy, we'll let them go for the right money. If Bernard says I want to leave, and the deal on the table is you get 60 million quid, City will let him go to whoever, as long as it's not the Premier League. Same with Riyad Mahrez. If the money's right, you know, Ipsos is right. I said during the season, I said we're going to come to a situation where I actually said this. Okay, go back. The receipts are there. I said this summer I expected one of Bernardo, Riyad, KDB, or Gundogan to leave. Okay, I said personally, I hope it's Mahrez. If there's one person leaving, I'd like it to be Mahrez out of those. But I said we're going to go through a phase. Almost every season we lose a good top player. Company in 2019, Company left. Aguero, 21 was it? David Silva, 2020. Fernandinho. Okay. Now Gundogan. Whether the others go or not, next season we will definitely lose another top player. Bernardo, Mahrez, or KDB if they stay. And I said there will be that process where we've seen Gundogan go. Next season we might see, for argument's sake, Mahrez go. Let's say he doesn't leave. We might see Mahrez and or Bernardo go. The season after, I think that will be KDB's last season because he'll be 34. He might stick around like Fernandinho, be a bit part player, but I think KDB doesn't want to be a bit part player. He's star man. He might say that's enough. So we will keep. It was going to happen. It's inevitable. But I did say a year ago that this would happen. You know, these players are at that sort of age that we do need to replace them, and we need to start doing it soon. Otherwise, you cannot have KDB at 34, Gundogan at 34, Mahrez at 35. You know, Bernardo in his about 31. You can't have that happening. Borges, well, we'll see. You know, Borges. I hope Borges will get a run, not run, but I think I want him to be around that first team. I want him to do what Cole Palmer's done for the last 2 seasons. Now, Borges is from Portugal.
Did you say Borges is a direct sort of backup for Haaland?
I don't know.
Style of play.
Well, he's certainly
I've watched him a couple of times. I mean, obviously when Haaland was muted to come a couple of years ago, obviously Delap was in and around. I thought that might be ideal for Delap to sort of be a cover thing, but obviously Borges could be possibly I don't know. Play to that.
I don't think he's a Haaland style player, but the thing is. Haaland, good point, Giuseppe. Edison was an upgrade on Bravo, obviously, and Edison did hit the ground running. Walker did as well.
I would have been upgrade on Bravo, mate, if I had come in.
And you were 60 years old, mate, at the time.
I was 60 then, yeah.
Yeah. So Borges, I think what I want, as I said, I want Borges to be around that first team, the same way Cole Palmer has been for the last 2 seasons. I don't want Borges to go out on loan because I said very few people come back from loan and make it at City. You go out on loan, you don't come back. So I want Borges to be around the first team, to have that, to smell it, to taste it. I don't want him to do a Romeo Lavia. I want him. But then we look at the difference. Cole Palmer's had 2 seasons basically on the sidelines at City, not getting much game time. Lavia's had 1 season. He's worth 40, 50 million quid. He's a first-team player. Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea want Romeo Lavia, and they're willing to pay 40 million quid or more. So that's the conundrum City have got. But I want Borges to spend time around that first team and see what he can do, where he can develop.
I think what I'll do, I think he'll use this this trip to Japan and Korea, etc. to and he did this last year. He had a look at some of these young lads in that sort of context, and he decided what to do with them. And I think that's what'll happen.
Mike, are you getting a ticket to the South Korean game?
Well, I'm basically shopping around for a ticket right now. Whether I'm going to be there for whether I'm going to be there for the 30th, that's going to be a little bit of a challenge because my family want me home as soon as possible. But I'm definitely I've got a few students who are going to get me a ticket. So whether I can actually go or not is still undecided. But I would love to be there because I haven't seen them, and they're going to be playing Atletico Madrid on the 30th.
Yeah. Well, even if you don't go, Mike, get one of your students to go. We want some footage. We want some footage for City Fan TV. We want to.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely do that.
We were there. See, Bernard never sent me. The thing is, I'm not having to go at you, Bernard, but Bernard never sent me anything from Istanbul. I didn't get.
I had no internet. I couldn't afford any Wi-Fi.
I didn't get any "How's your father" out of Bernard. You know, he got nothing.
Got some photos when I come back.
Oh yeah. No, they were nice, Bernard, but you know, a little bit of video, even a week later.
Oh, I can't be. I'm going to watch the football. I'm not asked doing a bloody camera everywhere. I can't be bothered with all that malarkey.
No, just a little bit of scenery.
Support my team and have a couple of beers. I don't go to take bloody pictures and take videos and chat to people.
When you go to home games and some away games, you put a video out on Twitter.
Oh, don't. No, I do in the ground when they cut just like a little segment for me vlogs. That's it. I don't go outside the ground.
Not outside. I mean, get that little bit of atmosphere, man. We want a bit of atmosphere. But Mike,
I can't be bothered. I want to go and support my team and watch the football. I can't be bothered with all that.
Ipswich says, I felt we compromised a lot last season. We got lucky. I agree. With injuries, and Pep did find solutions mid-season. Totally agree. Fagri says Stefan Ortega should go down as the best signing for Man City last season because he forced Edison to raise his game. Good point. Agree. Colin, hope you're well. If Mahrez any ambition,
I'm surprised no one's come in for Ortega.
I don't want him to go.
I'm surprised no other teams come in for him. You know, he's done a pretty good job this year, and certainly there's a lot worse goalkeepers about. And obviously, how he is at the moment, give last a couple of years, 2 or 3 years somewhere else.
I think he'll stay at least one more season. I think because he's getting good money and he's winning stuff. But there'll come a point where he'll say, I want to play. And if he can't force Edison out, and I don't think he's a downgrade from Edison. He's a fantastic shot stopper. That's an upgrade. He may not be as good with his feet as Edison, but he's a fantastic shot stopper. Will Peroni make it at City? We'll find out this season, Giuseppe. Let's go through some quick points. Mahrez has nothing to prove he's won it all. Rossi turns into Messi. No one can satisfy Pep 100%. He can go enjoy the money now. Absolutely. And Mahrez has been awesome and will be missed, but it's an opportunity to reinvest his transfer fee. Yep. The squad is too small to got the World Championship. Absolutely, Giuseppe. That's what I said. We've got extra games. But we know we have to cash in while there's still value. That's true. And here's the other thing as well. I did a video last week, and I talked about something that Ferenc Soriano, our chief executive, said. He said, you've got to know when to cash in a player. You've got to know where they are on the curve. And he said, he gave an example of Ronaldinho. They were offered, I think, between 50 and 60 million for Ronaldinho, and they didn't cash in. The season later, things weren't going well. They sold him for £25 million. And he said, we held on him for too long. And it's the same with Mahrez. You can hold on to somebody too long. We've generally been very good at that, getting rid of players before they've turned out to be gone over the hill. Thoughts on City side? I don't know, mate. Honestly, I don't know anything. I've not even heard about that. What's this? Maybe it's a conspiracy, but I think the club must have an Arabian Muslim player in the squad. Which club? Man City. They got quite a few. You know, they had Mahrez, they had Gundogan, they had Mendy, allegedly, in the loosest fashion. Loose. Fast and loose.
Fast and loose, yeah.
Yeah, some of the kids are as well. I think that's it. I'm trying to think of any others. Can't think of any off the top of my head. Any other players who are. But you know, it'd be interesting to see what happens with Mahrez. As I said, I personally I don't want him to go. You know, I still think he's got a lot to offer City, and he will help us get through that transitional period of losing Gundogan. I think that's so important. Just repeat before we do disappear, because we're on for an hour. I've got to do some shopping. Anybody new to the channel, please subscribe. We've had one lovely person who's subscribed in the last hour since we've been on air. But the rest of you miserable so-and-sos, what's wrong with you? Get subscribed. Top of the league is here. I heard a few weeks ago that Mahrez had an offer from Saudi Arabia. The momentum is there. We've seen more and more players go. Obviously, we've seen from Chelsea, Koulibaly going. Ziyech has gone as well, I think, if I'm right. There's a third one that went from Chelsea. I can't remember now. Kante. We've seen Neves go. There's talk of that now that Henderson's agreed a deal. So many players are going, and this is a head of steam now. There is a head of steam with the Saudi league at the moment, and so I heard today that Mahrez has apparently agreed a deal. Now, you know, look, it's easy for someone to make that up and put it out there. I do know that sometimes you're going to take stuff with a pinch of salt, but that's the rumor. The money's too good to turn down. Some fans are saying they're jealous. That's all, Umar Abdurrahman. You know, look, Southampton are taking risks when they buy players, but look at Romeo Lavia. All the risks they've done with Angus Gunn, with Gavin Bazunu, with Samuel Edozie, with Larios. I forgot Larios' first name. Was it Juan? All the things they've done with those guys and with Shea Charles, all those risks they've taken will pay off when this kid goes for about 40 million quid. Lavia, they'll make £20 million profit. So they'll be happy with taking the risks because, you know, they've made good money. Mendy is an Arabian. Oh, let's not talk that, Fabre. Why aren't City going for Vinny Jr.? He's not happy there because Real Madrid would not want to sell to us, and I don't think he'll come. He said even after all the racial abuse he suffered, he wants to stay. So he's working with La Liga to, you know, on this committee, investigative committee on racism. It'd be good. Yeah, absolutely. Some of the academy lads will come through next season. Joel Ndala seems like a promising talent that I would like to see Pep enjoy. We are light, I feel, on the wings already as it is. And top of the league says, like to see more of Palmer, or if he goes, Alvarez, see Mahrez go. But best, like you are saying, get money, go while the money is good. Absolutely, get gone. The money's good. It satisfies the FFP. Mahrez is on whatever, 250 grand a week. We'll get somebody else in for 120 grand a week. You know, if nothing else, we'll save 6-7 million quid a year on his wages. And you know, we have to replace them at some point. I don't want to, like I said, go into in 2 seasons' time have Mahrez at 34, KDB at 34. You know, it's too old. You need to replenish. You need to revitalize, reinvigorate. Remember, Bernard. Here's a question to Bernard and Mike. Okay, I don't know who to ask first, but I will go to Bernard. Okay, now Bernard. Manchester City, okay? We won the Premier League in 2012, okay? And we were on top of almost the world. You know, we'd done absolutely fantastic. Okay, we knocked out the Champions League at the group stage, finishing 4th in a group with Borussia Dortmund, Real Madrid, and Ajax. That was embarrassing. But we'd won the league, okay? My question to you is, who did we buy that summer? We bought 6 players. 6 players, okay?
They weren't very good.
Well, I'm going to tell you, okay? We bought, okay, give me a second. We bought a goalkeeper, 2 defenders, and 3 midfielders, okay? MFs. I won't call them midfielders with the MFs because they were that crap. So we'll start with Mike. Give Mike the first shout. Who did we buy that season after we won the league?
I think it was basically a bunch of duds. Actually,
Give me anybody. Look, we spent 39,
okay.
45, 57, over 60 million quid on these duds. Without Googling
Right.
it, think of somebody.
No, I'm not Googling it. I'm just trying to think of that particular player who has just recently retired. Midfielder, big fella. Who am I thinking of? Oh my gosh, he was eventually transferred out. Help me here, guys. Help me here.
We're not going to help you. I'll start with Bernard. Give Bernard the first shout.
Oh no, Danilo.
Sorry,
Danilo.
No, Danilo. Remember, Danilo left 3 years ago. We got him Danilo about 5 years ago. Big
Morgan. I just know when we'd won the league, I thought, what a load of crap we bought to go on to the next
Jack
season.
Rodwell for 12 million quid from Everton. Okay,
that's the one. That's the one I was talking about.
Top of the league says Garcia and Sinclair. So we got Garcia from Benfica for 17 million quid. We got Scott Sinclair from Swansea for 6.2 million quid.
There's another one.
We got the goalkeeper on a free. He had no club at the time, and he's still at City, Bernard. There you go.
Is he? Oh, Scott.
Nope. Carson we got about 3 years ago. The goalkeeper that we bought.
There's still a goalkeeper at City. There's no others left.
We bought him in 2012. Okay. Not his first choice because we had Big Joe Hart. Not his second choice. But he's still at Manchester City now.
Oh, not as a goalie, obviously.
He's got goalkeeper in his title.
Has he? Goalkeeping coach.
Yeah. Top of the league's there with Richard Wright. Richard Wright we bought as well. And there's two more. Don't help them. Don't help them.
Did we buy Bellamy at that time as well?
No. What? Bellamy was long before that.
Look at that. It's going back a bit. Even that sort of way back.
Last two players. Okay, I'll help you. Okay. One came from Inter. He's Brazilian. He wasn't worth 5 million. He went down like a bomb. His name was... Come on. Maicon.
Oh, my God.
He was crap. The last
Taxi for Maicon. Taxi for Maicon.
The last person we got from Fiorentina. Now, we sold to Fiorentina Stefan Savic, and we paid 12 million quid for this defender.
Right back.
Sorry?
Was he a right back?
No, centre back. He was a nasty piece of work. I thought Bernard would get that from the clue.
Nastasic,
yep, that's it. We paid a lot of money for that kid. So we bought basically mostly crap, people that didn't work out. So there's always that risk. There's always that risk that people don't work out. So, that's why we need to get some bodies. But we've been lucky. We've got most things right of late. And I think whatever we do, we'll get right this summer. It's like Cheeky and Ferran and Pep. They're just getting more and more things right as we go. Right, guys, I've got to go off to B&Q. I've got to do some shopping. I've got some work to do. I've got to pretend that I'm busy.
Oh, yeah, I'm in bed in an hour. Not had my tea yet.
Forget that. Yeah, absolutely. Because without Pep, who knows? But I think the DNA is there running through the club. The DNA is there. That's why our kids are so expensive and so sought after and so valuable. Yeah, I'm going to finish off because I'm suddenly, even after my double coffee, which yesterday, I was like that, weren't I, Bernard?
You were, but I couldn't get a word in sideways.
Yeah, but today I'm not. Today I've been a bit more reasonable. Well, no, yesterday I got in, had a coffee, and before this thing, I had a coffee and a half. So I was like buzzing. I was really on fire. Whereas today, I was on an empty stomach as well, so like it just went straight in. And today, I've been a bit more cautious about it. I've had the double coffee as I've started the stream, not before. So it's taken a bit of time to kick in, but I'm feeling tired now. I've got to go and do my shopping for this show I'm doing on Saturday. Got to do a ton of stuff for tomorrow. Busy. It's always good. Always good to be busy. Right, guys. I will.
Right, guys. Thank you for everybody for tuning in.
Yeah. And don't forget, you can follow Mike, Bolt from the Blue. You can find him on Twitter, Bolt from the Blue, and we do the Bolt from the Blue podcast. Don't know where that's gone in the summer. We should be doing something there, hopefully, soon enough. And you can follow Bernard on Twitter at Citizen. Are you the Citizen?
Put my name in. That Bernard, sorted.
And he put his name in and he pops up. And you can follow him on YouTube as the Citizen channel. And we have promised you guys, and we will deliver. Okay, because Mike, you've not been here for a few days. You've been busy and everything else, but we have been inundated, literally inundated by 2 or 3 people. Inundated. People want to see Mike. Now, they've heard that Mike is a sultry, handsome devil, and people want to see what you look like. So maybe when we're in Northern Ireland and I'm eating this 24-inch pizza or whatever, and I'm chatting with Mike, doing a stream for you guys, you will finally see Bolt from the Blue live. That'll be live, and that'll be really, really interesting. So, Mike, everybody wants to see you. We know our subscriber count will go through the roof. When those great grandmothers see a picture of you. It's gonna happen, guys. I love you guys. Thank you so much for coming on. Hope we've had a good time and you've enjoyed it. It's been great fun. An hour and 17 minutes. When I'm thinking, let's get half an hour done, and then let's get all this work done. But guys, love you, and we'll hopefully. I won't probably see you tomorrow because I'm working till very, very late tomorrow. But I might try and sneak out a video sometime during the day. But guys, take care. Go back and watch that stream, Michael. If you haven't watched yesterday's stream, that's certainly worth watching. That's certainly worth watching yesterday's stream because apparently
Michael.
I was wired. Follow the channels, guys.
Nice to be with you guys.
Yeah, Mike, so we will say goodbye to you, Long Mike. And to Bernard, the Citizen. And we'll love you and leave you. And we'll see you around Blue.